What's up, guys? My name is Evan Mendoza. I'm a current infielder with the St. Louis Cardinals organization. I'm currently playing in AAA for the Memphis Redbirds. I just want to give you a brief explanation on kind of my background so that way you know me as a person, where I'm coming from, my journey up to professional baseball. So getting it started where I was born in Baltimore, Maryland, grew up an Orioles fan. First ballpark was Camden Yards. I love that place. My family went through a lot of moving, so we actually moved down to Sarasota, Florida, and I kind of consider that my second home. Went to Sarasota High School, later got committed to North Carolina State University in the ACC, go Wolfpack. And then after my junior year of college, I actually got drafted in the 11th round by the St. Louis Cardinals in the 2017 MLB first year player draft, and it was an unreal experience. I was able to get sent off to State College Spikes for the rookie season. That's a short season for those that aren't familiar. It was a New York Penn League team, but the State College Spikes are now an MLB Draft League team. Got promoted after a couple of months of performing really well there to Peoria, Illinois, to the Peoria Chiefs. That's where I finished up my 2017 season. 2018, I started in High A for the Palm Beach Cardinals. After about a month and a half of performing really well, I got promoted up to Double A. Spent the rest of the season in 2018 playing third base for the Springfield Cardinals and was loving it there. 2019, I actually started in AAA for the Memphis Redbirds. Got demoted back to Double A just to get more playing time, really, and then got back up to AAA. Unfortunately, got hurt a few games later. Then really COVID hit after that, the whole rehab process. Broke my wrist actually twice, which was unfortunate. But yeah, went through that rehab process, played a little bit of winter ball in Colombia, South America, which is where my dad's from. Played in the Caribbean Series, which is an awesome experience. And I'm going to be looking forward to possibly playing in the World Baseball Classic in 2023 in the early spring. So that's a little bit about me as a person. I've been in a couple big league camps, been able to back up guys like Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado, Paul DeYoung, Colton Wong. Been able to play with Yachty, Albert Pujols. It's been an awesome journey so far in professional baseball. I want to get into this course, so let's get started. So first things first, we'll go over the outline and some of the objectives of this small little mini course. I want to be able to give you this information and give you this value kind of as quickly as possible, but also in a way that you guys understand how I'm going to be able to coach you possibly in the future. Yeah, let's get started. So this outline, little things that you'll learn about are developing good habits. That's step number one. Step number two is finding a routine that works for you. Number three is maintaining, understanding maintenance. Number four is growing within the game of baseball, which is vital. Number five is having a strong mentality. So that's kind of the course objectives and the things that you're going to be learning about in this course. So first off, why are habits, starting off from point number one, what are habits and why are they so important? So habits are really as simple as eating well, sleeping well, making sure that you get enough nutrients to be able to perform well. Each and every one of those categories, even just waking up early. I remember I went to a Naval Academy college camp when I was like in 7th, 8th grade, I think. And one of the things that I really picked up on is that coach, I remember he spoke to the entire camp and he said whenever his alarm is set in the morning and it starts ringing, he makes it a challenge of his to wake up as soon as possible and get on his feet as soon as possible. So that could even be classified into a good habit, is waking up on time, making sure you're prompt to things. Those things will go a very, very long way, especially in college. That's something that's part of the process. Pro ball, same thing. You have to be prompt to things, to meetings, to games, to practices. All that is very important and does go a very long way. So habits are very important. Eat well, sleep well, making sure that you're sleeping 8 hours a day. You've probably already heard that before. Eating well, making sure that you have a protein on every plate, a carb on every plate, and a color. So what does that kind of look like? A very simplified meal is chicken breast as a protein. A carb can be like a baked potato, sweet potato, things like that. And then a color can be anything of color. It could be carrots, it could be broccoli, it could be peas, anything that are going to give you a lot of vegetables can be classified into that category, and that's a good starting point. Maybe mixing in a protein shake after workouts, maybe some chocolate milk are definitely things to be getting accustomed to, because that's what you're going to see a lot more of in very high level high schools, and then also just about every college. They're going to have maybe a sponsorship with Muscle Milk or a protein shake company, and you're going to be given those resources at that next level. Same thing with professional baseball. We're given all those resources: creatine, protein, fish oils, amino acids, all those things, BCAAs, a lot of things that are going to help you get to that next level, speaking from the nutritional standpoint. So we'll move right into a routine. I guess we can kind of start off. I always like to start off kind of objectives with why is it important? Why is having a routine important? So I think having a routine is probably one of the single most important things to be able to play at that next level, and especially in professional baseball. The routine is what really establishes professional baseball players into who they are. The drills, the focus that you have during those practices, drills throughout every single day is really what turns you into the player that you are. So speaking from experience, when I was a kid, my routine really was playing wall ball every single day of my summers. When I got home, played wall ball for like an hour in the driveway against a wall. It doesn't matter where it is. Sometimes even inside. I remember there was a house that we lived in my middle school years that I would play wall ball inside in the foyer, and it was very loud for everyone in the house. And there were multiple times where my family members complained, but that is, speaking from experience, that's what I really put a lot of focus on. And it developed me into a really good defender, honestly. So if I focus some of that attention to defense when I was a kid into hitting, you never know, I could be a very good hitter as well. I think I've shown sometimes that I'm a good hitter, kind of off and on at times, but I think I have really good contact skills. Of course, not a ton of power if you look at my baseball reference and look at all the numbers and stuff. But yeah, really that routine will define you. Understanding what works for you, understanding the parts of your game that you need to work on are very important to be able to develop that routine. I think starting out with making sure you're covering each base of baseball, honestly. So if you're a pitcher, make sure you're doing some type of drills, making sure that you're getting into your windup, throwing from the stretch, maybe doing long toss, having a throwing program. Those are all essentials if you're a pitcher. Position players, make sure you're hitting, make sure you're doing defensive work, make sure you're doing sprinting work, and also an in-season and off-season workout plan. That way you're able to not only maintain your muscles throughout the course of the season, but then also in the off-season, you're looking to grow your muscles, which we'll get into the growing part of the 5 steps to train like a pro baseball player. So game days, I'll give you kind of like a quick game day routine. So I get to the field, usually I'll maybe hit a training room if I need to do any prep work as far as maybe getting stretched out by the trainer, anything that looks like that, maybe something has been bothering me, getting it taped up, anything like that before we get onto the field. One thing we do before getting onto the field is make sure that we get our routine, our hitting routines. I'm speaking from a position player standpoint, so making sure you're getting your hitting routine taken care of in the cage. That looks like probably anywhere from 15 to 30 swings for most guys. Probably like, 4 rounds of 6, somewhere around that. Make sure you're doing your drills, that you're working on something, whether it's a high tee, side toss, overhand darts, maybe mixing in and out. There's a lot of drills. Of course, I can't go into all of the hitting drills. This isn't really what this course is, what it's all about. But making sure that you're establishing a routine in the cage if you're a hitter. That way you can take your routine onto the field for maybe an on-field BP if that's something that your team is able to do. And of course, have people shagging. While you're doing shagging, make sure you're getting some ground balls in for defensive reps. If you're an infielder, if you're an outfielder, make sure you're getting some reads off the bat. One thing that I think is very overlooked is getting live reads off of Coach BP. That way you're able to read swings. It's very important to be able to understand and learn how to do that. Yeah, and of course throwing, stretching, those are parts of the routine as well. They're not as focused because it's very repetitive, but making sure that your legs are loose, making sure there's enough blood flow in your shoulders and your arms to make sure that you don't hurt anything during your practice. But then we basically hit BP. We'll eat like a post-game or a pre-game spread, meaning pre-game boot, and then we get ready for the game. We stretch, we throw, we get ready. I like to just make sure that I'm moving around quick enough, make sure that my legs are loose. That way I stay on the balls of my feet and I feel comfortable in my own skin. So next things up, we're going to talk about maintenance, having a good maintenance routine. All of these things can be really understood as routines in the game of baseball. But one thing that's important, just quickly, why is maintaining your body important? So in professional baseball, you play over 140 games. In the big league level, 162. Not taking into account spring training, not taking into account postseason. So if you're an everyday guy that plays a lot of spring training games, a lot in the regular season, then also your team goes to the World Series, you're looking at close to 200 games. So maintaining your body, making sure you're healthy. One of the most important, quotes, sayings, whatever you may categorize it as, You can't play if you're hurt. You can't also get recruited if you're hurt. You can't get committed. You can't get drafted if you're hurt. So it's so important. This game is a game of survival sometimes, especially at the pro level. Is you want to make sure that you're healthy at all times if possible. So making sure that you take care of your body is a must. So that looks like hitting the training room, like I mentioned, getting things stretched out if anything's been bothering you, having an in-season weight training program. That way you can maintain those muscles and stay at the top of your shape. Having some type of arm care, especially this is detailed towards pitchers mostly, but having like a plyo ball routine, maybe a band workout, very important. Then also recovery, making sure that you hit your hot tubs, cold tubs after the game, maybe do some type of contrasting. Of course, we have a lot of resources at the pro level, but doing something like that is a must. Our third, or actually our fourth point, our fourth step to train like a pro baseball player is our growing aspect. So why is growing important? So if you're a high schooler, you probably already know the answer to this. If you stay at the skill level of a high schooler, what's going to happen if you stay at that level in college? If you are even able to get to college, you have to be able to develop your skills. You have to mature within the game. You have to think like a pro baseball player. It's such an important thing. So that's the reason why growing is so important, is because you have to start understanding that you have to grow level to level. If you don't grow level to level, that's when guys start to phase out and unfortunately aren't given the chance to perform at that next level. So that's something that I see from afar, is a lot of kids don't develop properly, they don't grow properly, and that's what really limits them to playing at that next level. Analyzing numbers. Of course, numbers are important. Having an understanding of what a good 60 time is, an exit velo is, what your velo should be off the mound, those are all important things to be able to kind of categorize yourself among your peers, among guys that are of similar age, and then also maybe a year or two older. You always want to be competing within those numbers. Those are things that the scouts look at to categorize as tools, and it's a very important part of the game, and especially of growing. So our last and probably one of the most important parts is having a strong mentality, and that's something to train as well for professional baseball players. Believe it or not, we do have a mental strength coach with the St. Louis Cardinals organization. And of course, a lot of you guys might be asking, why is mentality important? So throughout the course of a long season, playing a failing sport, guys, I can't stress this enough. We play a failing sport of baseball. There's so much failure. You're going to fail 80% of the time, 80, maybe more, maybe less. But, at the pro level, most guys probably hit 250 to 300. So at the worst, you're failing 70% of the time. That's a lot of failure that someone has to go through. So there's going to be a lot of clutch times where you perform and you excel and you prosper. There are going to be times where you fail dramatically. There's going to be times where you blink and you're all of a sudden in an 0-2 count and you're striking out a lot. You're really frustrated with yourself. You're making errors on defense. It seems like nothing's going your way. You have to tell yourself positive thoughts. You have to train those thoughts. You have to tell yourself what you need to tell yourself in times of need to make sure that you're not giving the rest of the game away. There have been times, honestly, I can speak from experience, there have been times where after my first at-bat of the game, it didn't go well. And unfortunately, this was especially in my younger career when I was a lot younger and didn't really fully mature mentally, where I would throw the game away. I would throw the game away because of one bad at-bat. And obviously, this is not a game where you can just throw one at-bat or throw the entire game away because of one at-bat. You never know. I like to tell myself and kind of trick myself, I'm one at-bat closer to my next home run. I'm one at-bat closer to my next base hit. These are the positive self-talk that I like to do throughout the course of my season, and to always have a positive outlook on the entire game of baseball. If you do those 5 things, if you have a strong mentality, if you grow within the game, you maintain your strength, you have a good routine, and then you also develop great habits, guys, those are the 5 key pillars to playing professional baseball. I can't thank you enough for joining this course. If you really enjoy this course and enjoy how I teach, make sure to shoot me a follow, of course, on TikTok, on Instagram. That's where I'm showcasing kind of who I am and kind of humanizing athletes. That's something that I really am passionate about. I'm also passionate about educating the youth to play baseball, to learn the game of baseball, which can be sometimes a tricky topic because understand where to even start looking for the resources. I'm telling you right now, I'm a resource to you. I can be your coach. I can be your mentor. It's very important to be able to use the resources that are in front of you and to be able to make sure that you're giving your player, maybe your student, maybe your son, the resources to be able to excel and play at that next level. My name's Evan. I'm with the St. Louis Cardinals organization. I thank you so much for joining this 5 steps to train like a pro baseball player.